Good evening, folks. It is 7 p.m. I will call the Tuesday, September 14th, Superior Committee of the Whole meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councillor Ledeen. Here. Councillor Van Sickle. Here. Councillor Bender. Here. Councillor Sweeney. Here. Councillor Fennessy. Here. Councillor Elm.
Here.
Councillor Ludwig. Here. Councillor Sutherland.
Here.
Councillor Kern. Here. Councillor Grasky.
We have a quorum.
And Mayor Payne.
Here.
All right. First item. With the power to act, 2 ordinances are being recommended by the Finance Committee from their meeting held August 24th, amending the City Code in Chapter 74, Article 3, the hotel-motel room tax. The first ordinance amends Section 7462 to allow a designated tourism commission to use 70% of room tax for tourism promotion and development beginning January 1st, 2022.
Motion approved.
I've got a motion by Councillor Bender and a second by Councillor Sweeney. We do have some speakers here.
Chair, point of order first.
Yes, Councillor Kern.
As a motion maker, I just got a question. I'm going to refer to you, the chair, and then hopefully maybe Mayor Payne be able to address it more often. My motion that I made the other day was a motion to send this as a committee of whole. It did not include a motion with power to act. So I'm just would like to get some clarification on how we're at this point with power to act when my motion did not include power to act.
Sure. You're questioning Mayor Payne, or you're interested in frogs?
You're the chair, so I have to run through the chair.
All right. Mayor Payne.
Yeah, it's true that Councillor Kern's motion did not include the words power to act, but power to act, that's not a parliamentary term. I can't find that anywhere in Robert's rules or city ordinance or state statute. It's a unique feature that the city of Superior tends to use. Realistically, I didn't think about it at the time of the meeting, and so I set the meeting as power to act afterwards, as that is our past practice when something has been referred from a council meeting to committee of the whole. Furthermore, I believe that was the understanding of the council when they voted on it, that they intended to act at this meeting, especially since they had already considered the possibility of considering this at the next council meeting, and they had rejected that. And so I think had this been specified that we would not be voting finally on this ordinance tonight, I do believe that would have changed the vote because, again, I understood that motion to be that we would decide this tonight. And finally, adding that just protects the rights of the council because now they do have the right to act, but they are certainly not obligated to, so the council still has its full range of options in front of it. Just so well, in the future, we could probably clarify that a little bit more. It's just a funny term that's unique to Superior, and I think this protects the overall rights of the council.
Thank you, Mayor. All right. Got a motion and a second on the first ordinance here. We have some speakers, and we're going to call our speakers up. The first speaker is James Farkas. According to the rules, we have a 3-minute timer once we start, so call James up to speak.
Well, good evening, Council President Elm, Mayor Payne, other city council members, city officials, president, members of the public. My name is James Farkas, and I reside in Billings Park here in Superior. I want to also thank the council here last week for allowing an additional week for the public and you all to thoughtfully consider this amendment before us tonight regarding the hotel motel tax revenue for use for promoting tourism. Please consider my opposition to the proposed amendment, ordinance O-21-4252, creating the Superior Tourism Development Commission and effectively replacing the Superior Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors overseeing the Travel Superior for the disbursement of those funds for the hotel and motel from the hotel and motel tax revenues. My opposition is really summarized with two concerns. The first is a reduction in what I kind of call community representation for the dispersal of those funds. And the second one, possibly more concerning, is the potential for undue influence. My first concern is the members of the Superior Chamber Board of Directors currently responsible for Travel Superior reflect a wide cross-section of the community of Superior as well as the greater area. To date, their actions seem to me to have well benefited tourism in the Superior and surrounding areas. The second concern I have is what I would call the potential for undue influence. The proposed amendment allows a single elected official to select 6 members to the proposed commission, 2 of which those members are sitting members of the City Council. This proposed Tourism Commission selection process will at best reduce what I might call the democratic process or the diversity of decision-making currently with this Chamber Board of Directors. At worst, it may promote undue influence with respect to future decisions regarding the disbursement of those motel and hotel tax revenues. So Mayor Payne, Council President Elm, members of the City Council, thank you for your time. I would like, if those concerns resonate with you, I'd like to certainly reconsider possibly voting on this, or if you need to vote tonight, vote no. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next is Steve Farmakis.
Thank you, Mr. President. Councilors, Mayor, hello. My name is Steve Farmakis, and I'm a lifelong Superior resident. I've worked for a large health insurance company for the past 26 years, currently in a project manager role. We work on system and process updates that span a wide range, from small process changes to multi-million-dollar initiatives. It is no secret that there are tried and true protocols to use to be successful with these initiatives and businesses in general. Listening to customers, analyze data, pencil out and vet alternatives that weigh the pros and cons, ultimately making sure everything aligns to the strategic plan and missions and values of the organization. Doing this leads to making well-informed decisions. Using the same approach makes sense for running local governments as well. Indeed, it is evidence there are many examples of that from our local governments over the years. Input is sought, studies have been done, debate and research is done by our councils and boards, referred to committee and back, etc. And there are comprehensive plans and the like in place to look to for guidance. However, since this issue has recently come up and arguments brought forth to date, it is really hard to see where much of this has been applied. At the last council meeting, there was a lot of discussion, and many of these high-level points were also made. There was also some input from both sides that alluded to data and facts. For example, the statement was made that the commission approach is the most commonly used by far. That's very interesting, and so how many exactly and why is that? Those exact details are hard to find. Data is available on the Wisconsin DOR site in the form of room tax reports that must be filed. The report has a section for tourism entity versus commission. So I ended up opening over 300 reports to take a look, and I have the tendinitis in the elbow to prove that. And from the reports that showed room tax was collected, there was a handful that were blank and a few were not clear, but most seemed pretty clear as far as what was input. And it looked like it was really shaken out to be closer to 50-50. Now, granted, on a closer inspection, some reports did not look like they're filled out accurately when you compare to, say, the entity's website, et cetera. But really, I'm not looking to count, not looking to split hairs here on a count, rather just trying to get a better understanding of what is real. The main point here is that there really is good data out there that should be looked into further. Information can be gleaned just by looking through these results, what they represent, the expenditures these entities are making, and what other communities are doing, and what are those dynamics. Also, this was very interesting in that roughly a third of those that listed a commission actually listed both a tourism entity and a commission. And looking at the statute in these examples, that appears that's an option. So there are alternatives out there that can be explored. This doesn't have to be an either-or option.
10 seconds, sir.
I was hoping to briefly comment on more, but it's difficult to do in 3 minutes. So based on these points and the points of others, I urge you to not pass this ordinance at this time, Do the due diligence, make an informed decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Annette Farmakis.
Hi, my name is Annette Farmakis, and I'm the lead travel specialist of the Travel Superior Welcome Center. I love my job where I get to help visitors and locals learn about everything we have to offer, and I've been told many times that my love for our area truly shows. I truly do not understand where this hurry-up decision to change to a commission is coming from, and I'm disheartened that many of you have already made your decisions and your minds up without more research and discussions that can be done, or even hear from your constituents on how they are, how they feel, and some have even reached out to you and have told you they've been told that all the decisions have already been made. Shouldn't you take all information into consideration before making a decision? There are so many unanswered questions that need to be answered and researched. An example of vetting is the article that was in the paper yesterday that states Superior is the biggest community that does not have a commission. I just did a quick research and I found Eau Claire, Racine, Milwaukee, and Janesville, all on their websites, show that they do not have a commission. If that's right or wrong, I'm not sure, but again, vetting. They do not show that. In fact, there are many ways to set up this process that would be successful for our city. Why not look at the options available and come up with a plan that works best for us? I ask as a person who loves our city and our community that you vote this down today. Really take the time needed to answer vital questions and make a solid plan instead of a hurried vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Taylor Peterson.
Good evening. As you know, Travel Superior is against this ordinance change due to its potentially negative impact, not only on our organization, but on local tourism. I appreciate you taking an additional week to consider the implications of this decision, yet I feel this ordinance change is rushed and has poor timing coming at the end of a pandemic and at a time that is incredibly important to next year's tourism planning, all without a clear plan ahead for this commission. In Travel Superior's opinion, this is not a partisan issue, but this concept is introducing a political component to local tourism, which once again does not need to be political. In my opinion, this type of politics isn't fun. As part of my position, I need to and will continue to work with our elected city, county, and state leadership. As part of my position, I advocate for our organization and the entire tourism community. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't stand here and tell you to keep tourism the same, because it's working. I made myself available to answer countless questions, submitted hundreds of pages of narrative, financials, and marketing examples for city reporting, and even presented to our full council on what we do and how we do it. We have taken the high road. We have strived to be transparent in this process, and we haven't taken any intentional digs or thrown mud. We simply do not feel this ordinance change is best for Superior tourism, and we are being transparent on that. Travel Superior is just one voice in the collective makeup of Superior and Douglas County tourism. We do a great job. We use calculated decisions. We help our tourists, and we have proven results with a steady increase in hotel motel tax collections. No matter how the council votes on these agenda items, I would like you to consider the following questions as this moves forward, and I would like to have welcomed this discussion over a year ago when these questions could have been answered. We understand the commission would be set up to direct allocation of tax. What is the amount that will be promised and contracted, since hotel motel tax is a use tax that fluctuates from year to year and nothing is guaranteed with it? What are the guidelines and operating parameters of this commission and who is setting them? Are there any requirements for what percentage of the 70% will be used for tourism promotion outside of the community to attract overnight stays? Can this percentage fluctuate in the future or even from year to year? We understand it can, but will these funds go out to an RFP process, and how will that happen? What is the city's level of engagement with any and all organizations that can receive funds? Will it be the same process for the 30% of hotel motel tax that the city retains annually? Travel Superior is in contract with the City of Superior for tourism promotion and development until December 31st. We will continue to do our job and fulfill this contract, but who is going to do this after December 31st if a decision hasn't been made? Do we continue to promote tourism until we are selected or another tourism entity is selected in our place?
10 seconds, sir.
At this time, we would be starting to budget and strategic plan for the next year. The fourth and first quarters are typically when the foundation for our strong summer tourism season is laid out. Do we have to hold off on that process and hope that we have time to do it should we be selected? As part of the contract, we are dispersed hotel motel tax following the end of each quarter. How will the fourth quarter be paid out?
Mr. Peterson, we're at time.
Motion to suspend the rules and allow an extra 2 minutes.
Second.
Got a motion by Councillor Fennessy and a second by Councillor Bender. All in favor of extending the period, signify by saying aye. Any opposed? All right, continue on.
Thank you. There's been questions raised as to our shared board of directors between the Chamber and Travel Superior. Is there a recommendation for a better structure for the Travel Superior Board? Will there be an opportunity for public input or consideration with what the community feels is most important to tourism funding and promotion in the future? And last but not least, and hopefully these questions, along with a number of others that have been asked already here tonight, will be considered before this process moves forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Nikki Firmakis.
Hello, Chair, Mayor, Council. I am Nikki Firmakis, and I'm the Director of Marketing of Travel Superior. I'm a born and raised Superior resident. I went to UW Superior and graduated with a degree in mass communication focused on marketing. Every year I continue my marketing education through research, seminars, and attending conferences to learn industry trends, generate new ideas, and hone my craft. I believe strongly that creating a commission now without proper research, vetting, and development will be a mistake. I understand that the current intention of creating this commission is to not defund tourism promotion and development efforts. But what happens in 2 years if the current mayor and council are not reelected, or in 6, or in 10? What happens if a new administration is voted in with a different political agenda and priorities than the current one? What's to stop a future administration or commission from slowly chipping away at the 70% they're allocated to pet projects that may fit the definition of tourism promotion and development, but not actually drive overnight stays? Inevitably, a one-year appointment will create a revolving door of commissioners that will inevitably create disjointed marketing process. The commission could 1 year give a contract to our organization, but could choose a different agency the next, and so on and so on. This creates volatility. This risks tourism marketing campaigns over time to lack continuity and have muddled messaging. You will lose the reinvestment, branding, and trust a tourism entity structure establishes. Will a new website be needed with each new contract? Will branding be changed each time? Who will be fielding all the information requests to if a new marketing firm is contracted? Who will be tasked with advocacy on behalf of the tourism industry? Which entity will work with state and local tourism entities to leverage partnerships? How will an agency be able to build off of data from previous years' efforts if a new firm is chosen? I have heard that there's a very real desire to have a say in what these marketing campaigns look like, how much we spend on them, and it's a power that you do not currently have. I disagree. Your say has always been welcome. The mayor has a say as a member of our board. We've presented our campaigns to finance and council where input has been welcome. Travel Superior's door and our phone lines have always been open to anyone should they wish to know our process, present campaign ideas, or inquire about marketing strategy. I assure you, Travel Superior does not create campaigns out of thin air. We research data and the trends of the industry. We talk to our tourism industry partners. We take the time to vet and mediums for all ad placements. We pinpoint our major assets and we market them accordingly. Tourism promotion and development is building on the successes and failures of the previous year's efforts. It's building and leveraging partnerships at the state and local level in all shapes and sizes to find co-op opportunities and advocate for our region. It's the Welcome Center building each visitor a customized itinerary. It's establishing brand recognition and trust.
10 seconds.
Success in the tourism industry is more than just creating a splashy marketing campaign. It's all those little things together. I urge you to vote against this ordinance change. I hope you choose to take the time to answer these questions and understand the change we're making, and I invite you to participate more fully in the process we are currently employing. Thank you.
Thank you. That is it for the written speakers. Is there anyone else who's interested in speaking on this topic that didn't sign up? All right. So we're on to discussion. Mayor Payne.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I'd like to clarify, is the question before the council merely the first of the two ordinances? They are not together.
As it stands, yes, there was a motion in between.
I'm going to recommend an amendment to the council that I believe answers not only some of the questions that came up in the public comment right now, but much of the debate and amendments of the council at the previous council meeting. However, that amendment will apply to the second ordinance, so I'll ask for your recognition on that as well. However, I do feel that I owe both the council and the public one final explanation of how we got here, what my intent was, and how this process would work if the council adopts my recommendation, the recommendation of the Finance Committee to adopt these ordinances. So first, I have to reject the idea that this has been a rushed process. This has been a very slow, deliberate, and public process. Mr. Peterson himself, I was actually upset over the last week, not at him, but that he told the council that he has endured over a year and a half of attacks, or rather Travel Superior has. That upset me because I saw many of those, and I didn't see them as attacks. I saw them as criticisms. Some of them were off base, of course, but some of them were fair and valid. They may have been rough at times, and so I do feel bad if he took those as attacks, but they really weren't. We've discussed a lot of the Travel Superior contract and how they carry out tourism promotion and development within the city of Superior at a number of public meetings over the last year. We openly discussed their operations on both February 11th, May 13th, and the June 10th Finance Committee meetings. That I will invite my colleagues on the Finance Committee to further describe those if they like or disagree with me, but I felt those were enlightening conversations. And at many of those same meetings, it was clear that the Finance Committee had no interest in renewing contracts for any organization this year without extensive review, debate, and in almost every single case, extensive revision. I had a conversation to that effect with the president of Travel Superior and the chair of the Chamber and Travel Superior Board on July 15th, where I informed them that and I imagine the council, did not want to see the existing contract renewed. We at the very least wanted changes. Within a week or two of that conversation, I informed the president of Travel Superior that we in fact wanted to put it out for bid. That decision was supported by the Finance Committee. But at the next meeting, I informed them that we really cannot put it out for bid. The city cannot release an RFP for the simple fact that there is only one bidder. The state statute is very carefully structured that way to make sure that only a single tourism entity would exist in any given community, and that would be the only one that the city could contract with. All I informed the Finance Committee is that if we wanted to put this out to bid, only a commission could do that. I confirmed that with the League of Wisconsin Municipalities. I later confirmed that this is the most common form of tourism structure in the state of Wisconsin. And just to clarify Mr. Farmake's point, part of the reason you see so many entities is it's very common for tourism commissions to contract with tourism entities. In fact, it's almost the standard. The difference is that they can do more things as well, and they can put those contracts out to bid. This, again, has been a very public process. This conversation, this debate, has been covered in the local newspaper on, I think, at least 4 separate occasions in both direct reporting and opinion pieces. Multiple TV news stations, Almanac North and WPR have all covered this. And Mr. Peterson, I think, has diligently informed his board of everything that has been happening. So this has been a transparent and actually, councilors, very long process. It's as long or longer than almost any other contract renewal that we have engaged in. And the purpose of that was so that we had enough time to continue the negotiations. I wanted, or I'm sorry, to get the negotiations started. I want to say just a bit more about that point, and I don't intend to engage in too much debate if I can avoid it, but I want to make these points. Again, as I mentioned, this is common. I do have the list of cities, at least that I found, that contain tourism commissions. They do include every major city in the state of Wisconsin, all of the larger metropolitan areas. Many of them are in tourism zones. That's why you don't always see them in specific cities. But and if anybody would like me to read it, I do have a list of 30 separate commissions that cover the vast majority of the population of Wisconsin. So it is true. This is very common, and it's been happening for years. And I recognize that there is some nervousness about how this could affect tourism promotion and development within the community. I would simply argue that, again, every major community is already doing this, or at least most of them, and I'm not seeing the consequences out there. Major tourist destinations, Madison, Milwaukee, Dane County, Lake Geneva, these places all use this structure, and they are attracting the largest volume of tourism across the entire Midwest. It's working for them. I don't know why it can't work for us as well. The fact is, though, if we want to, this is not the end of what we're doing here. I know it feels like we will have made an irreversible decision after this, but I want to assure you, councilors, this is just the beginning. I've heard from almost everybody here that we want to see that an RFP. We want to see options about how we could change tourism if we wanted to. Does not require a change, but it does give us the possibility to ask questions, which we do not have right now. There is no process for awarding this contract. The statute is clear. It goes to Travel Superior, and that's it, unless we create a commission. We were invited by several members of the public, both tonight and last week, to make a better plan, to work on some better way to do this rather than just cut out Travel Superior. That's what a commission is. It's the process by which we build the plan, a plan that I fully expect includes Travel Superior and all of our existing partners. It just allows them to actually consider multiple options for said plan. Finally, if it feels rushed, despite the fact that we've been working at this for months and questioning it for over a year, the fact is this contract will end at the end of this year. We have to get started on the process of allocating these funds. Starting January 1st, we have to begin, we will need a plan to allocate the funds that we will begin receiving from those hotels, motels, and rooming houses within the city of Superior. So if you have questions about this process, and Mr. Peterson offered a few, and I will do my best to answer them, but counselors, I would encourage you to ask them. This is a well-defined, well-used process. We have researched it very thoroughly. We've now discussed it very thoroughly. And I haven't heard a lot of questions from the council, but I look forward to answering them if you have them. I would only suggest in answer to Mr. Peterson's questions, and I'm sorry, sir, I did my very best to keep up, and that was my fault and not yours, but he asked a question about what happens if a commission were to create a contract and not have the funds to meet it. Well, a commission definitely should not do that, in the same way the city should not engage in contracts when it doesn't have the funds to meet them. A commission will be charged with the assistance of our finance department or anybody else they choose to contract to assist them, but I assume our finance department, to make responsible projections, like any other organization that does a budget. The city does this now. Travel Superior does this now. Commissions throughout the state do this now. They create budgets with projections. The money will go to a fund. If they spend too much, that fund goes into deficit, and that will create problems. Again, that is just as true for the contracts of any other organization, including Travel Superior or the city. If they are conservative, which I hope and assume they will be, it could create a surplus as well that they can allocate to other organizations or as they see fit. A number of his other questions I think we can answer with the amendment, but I'll take that up when we get to that ordinance. But the gist of that will be we should impose some controls. Some cities do impose some controls on their commissions, provide an extra layer of oversight. The commission should have some independence, but we can create some parameters that we can subject it to. Finally, and this is, I think, the last point I have to make. I've heard a lot of what ifs. You know, what if a commission makes this mistake? What if the mayor changes or the council changes and we get bad commissioners that make bad choices? I would argue that any what if we can ask about the commission, we can ask about the existing entity or any entity as well. I want to say I like the staff of Travel Superior. I get along with them very well. I've enjoyed working with them these last few years. I look forward to working with them in the future. But they won't be there forever either. The next entity might be led by folks that do a bad job. And if that's true, you are bound by contract to pay them quarter after quarter until that contract expires. If the commission does a bad job, the council should fix that. The council should replace those commissioners. The council should not approve of its decisions. The council should change the rules. And if necessary, get rid of the commission if it's that big a problem. We will have that option at our disposal at all times. When we engage with a single entity with no other choices, we don't have that flexibility. We have more options to respond to the what ifs or to do whatever is in the actual best interest of this community by going with the system designed to bring more public transparency and oversight. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councillor Fennessy.
I guess first off, I think I need to clarify the notion that this has been talked about for months and months and months is simply not true. Mayor, you blended two completely separate topics together in an effort to appear more transparent. What's been talked about for months and months and months is the vetting process with the contracts that we use, being more deliberate, being taking more time and looking at these contracts instead of just continuously renewing them. The topic that's before us today, changing the format to a commission, that appeared, 2 weeks ago on the special finance committee meeting that was posted barely over 24 hours before the meeting started. So to say that this has been going on for months and months and months, and we've had extensive debate about this is simply not true. We've had extensive debate about how we do our contracts, but that's not what's in front of us tonight. We're not voting on how we do a contract. We're not voting on who we're awarding this to. We're voting on the structure, whether we do a tourism entity or a tourism commission. So we have not been talking about this for months and months and months, as you stated. Second, if I could just get some clarification, the mayor had stated that if we want to put this out for bid, the only way to do that is to go to a commission format. Can I just get some clarification on that as far as what the difference is, why we wouldn't be able to bid out the tourism entity under the current format versus the commission format?
Mayor Payne?
I can read directly from the statute if the president or the council doesn't object.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. First, I'm going to define an entity because the statute requires, and I can find the actual requirement language in just a moment, but I can define what a tourism entity is because the statute requires one of two options. 70% of the room tax collected is awarded to either a tourism entity or it is awarded to a tourism commission, and then it defines both of those terms. A tourism entity means a nonprofit organization that came into existence before January 1st, 2015, spends at least 51% of its revenues on tourism promotion and tourism development, and provides destination marketing staff and services for the tourism industry in a municipality, except that if no such organization exists, a municipality may contract with one of the following entities. Either a nonprofit organization that spends at least 51% of its revenues on tourism promotion and tourism development and provides destination marketing staff and services for the tourism industry in a municipality, or a nonprofit organization that was incorporated before January 1st, 2015, spends 100% of the room tax revenue it receives from a municipality on tourism promotion and tourism development, and provides destination marketing staff and services for the tourism industry in a municipality. There is only one organization that meets that definition. It was written to ensure that only one organization in the community would meet that. Therefore, putting it out means that only one bidder can legally bid on it.
And so that was pulled from the tourism entity format?
Yes.
You're going to find the same wording in the tourism commission format under the same state statute. It says the municipality may create a commission. The commission shall contract with another organization to perform the functions of a tourism entity if no tourism entity exists in that municipality. So if we're going to say that no municipality or it has to be awarded to that tourism entity for the one, I would encourage you to look under the commission format. You're going to find that same wording, unless I'm misinterpreting this, but it has that same protection where it goes to a tourism entity under the commission format too.
Mayor Payne?
Yes, that's why we include the FAQs. I asked that exact question of the league staff, and I was directed to their FAQs where they issue the opinion, and they ask that question directly, where they clarify. See, the question is, under the room tax law, does the tourism commission have any discretion with regard to spending room tax revenue the municipality has forwarded to it for tourism promotion and tourism development, or must the commission forward all of the room tax dollars it receives to a tourism entity or other organization performing the functions of a tourism entity? And I'll just read the first sentence. I'll allow the councilors to read the remainder of these of the FAQ because it's in your packet. It says, while the room tax law is confusingly written and recent changes have not added clarity, a tourism commission has some discretion on how to spend the room tax revenue it receives from the city for tourism promotion and tourism development, and that and the subsequent FAQs further define what that discretion is.
Okay, so if we move to a commission format, any tourism promotion has to go through a tourism entity. But if we don't do tourism promotion, then we can spend it on whatever we want.
Mayor Payne?
The FAQ 15 reads, under the room tax law, must a tourism commission contract with an existing tourism entity exclusively for tourism marketing services, or may it also contract with other organizations for tourism marketing services? First sentence, a tourism commission may contract with other organizations for tourism marketing services in addition to a tourism entity located within the community. This is where we get into a little bit more opinion, but I asked the question, so if we award a contract for marketing and promotion, must a contract go to the entity? Kurt Wazinski at the league said, yes, you must then give a contract to the entity, but the commission decides how large a contract and may also contract with other organizations. There is also nothing binding the commission to engage in promotion at all. It can engage in tourism development. And again, I want to make clear I am not suggesting that. Most communities don't do that. Most communities contract with an entity for part of the money and use other parts of the money for development and other forms of promotion.
So I guess the other in your definition of a tourism entity, because in both these formats, both the tourism entity format and the tourism commission, it both has that if no tourism commission or no tourism entity was created before, I think it's 2016, 15, then you can use other businesses. Do we know what year Travel Superior was created? Or when it was filed?
I don't have the Mayor Payne?
I think that's irrelevant in that Travel Superior would at least, I believe, meet the first alternative definition. So even if they didn't meet the main definition, they certainly meet my knowledge of the organization, I think they clearly meet the definition of a tourism entity.
I absolutely do. I think they absolutely meet the definition of a tourism entity, but in here, under both parts, both the tourism entity, the tourism commission, it says that if, when it's talking about that you have to award it to the tourism entity, like you said, so we're locked in, we only have one bidder. It says, except if there is no such organization exists in a municipality on January 1st, 2016. My point is, if Travel Superior was created after January 1st, 2016, we can now put it out for bid and we can award it to anybody else. So again, you're inaccurate in saying that we can, if we can put it out for bid, but only one can bid on this. So if we stay with the current format with the tourism entity, we absolutely have the right to put it out for bid and look at other options under a couple different reasons.
I only point out that the statute then goes on to say that if it doesn't exist, municipality may contract with one of the following entities, and it very narrowly defines what those entities are, point 1 and point 2, and those are extraordinarily, that's what I just read. They're very narrowly defined. Either they provide 51% of, at least 51% of the revenues go to tourism promotion development, and they provide destination marketing staff and services, or an organization that's was incorporated before January 1st, 2015, spends 100% of the revenue it receives from municipality on tourism promotion development and provides destination marketing staff and services for the tourism industry. The point being, no, it must fit one of those definitions. If an entity doesn't exist, you can only contract with an organization that fits one of those two definitions, and only Travel Superior meets either of those definitions.
And one of those definitions is it exceeds a minimum of 51% of the entity's revenue on tourism promotion and tourism development. Why wouldn't we want a company that is so focused on tourism development and tourism promotion that they get 51% of their revenue from it? I think we'd be losing here if we awarded this to a company that isn't involved in tourism.
Councillor Bender.
Yes, thank you. And first of all, I wanted to say thank you to James Farkas, Steve Farmakis, Annette Farmakis, Taylor Peterson, and Nikki Farmakis for being willing to speak in front of this entity. I think it takes a lot of guts. And so that's basically what I wanted to say. And I've listened to all of your opinions, and I think you've all made a good case for what you had to say. So again, thank you for taking the time to speak.
Any other discussion? Councillor Kern.
Clarify the rules. Seeing that we're at a committee hold, do we still have to go through the chair? Can we address? How do we handle that? Because you're just going back and forth anyways. I mean, do we still have to do that?
Yeah, that would be the proper procedure. You have a question for who?
So my question, I guess, would be directed towards Mayor Payne. So
Yes.
You say that this was talked about a long time. I sit on finance. I've sat on finance for the last 5 years, and it was up until about early part of August that you actually called me to question or ask me my thoughts about as far as the potential of bidding the process through an RFP or an RFQ. Not much about the commission. We talked about it a little bit, but then my first reaction was there needs to be parameters, which you then stated, yes, we'll put those parameters in there. And then it goes to finance, as Councillor Fennessy said, as looking at the RFQ, and then snuck in there that we're now forming this commission without any parameters. So I got to agree with Councillor Fennessy that this was not discussed for months. It was discussed in about the last month, conveniently right after Duluth did theirs. And we're now discussing this, trying to push it through, which is, again, a large contract with whether we go commission form or stick with the current form that we have, and we still have no basis or guidelines on what we're going to do. We're sitting here in the fourth quarter with a contract that's set to expire with an entity. We could leave them high and dry if the commission decides. Yes, that's their right to do that if they want to. But then what are we going to do for the first and second quarter until we figure out what the commission's going to do? We have a proposal out looking at different options to try to bring in tourism that we've yet to get the report back, which should be coming possibly first quarter. We have a playbook with no plays in it. And I just don't understand why we're having this conversation. I think we could clearly just move along with what we have for the next year. You said, I believe, can we form a commission at the same time with having an entity still representing the contract?
Mayor Payne.
Well, we can form a commission at any point. In fact, that's what we are proposing to do now, form a commission while the entity exists.
but we don't know what the commission's going to do. So if we form a commission today, and once again, under your understanding, like we're sitting here with power to act, also we form this commission and they have full run to do whatever, which maybe that's not what the council intended to do. So I really feel like we're rushing this thing. I think we can set this thing up and make it work with all the different pieces as long as the puzzle fits together. But right now we have puzzle pieces that don't fit together. We don't have any understanding. I think a lot of the verbiage that was put out today, people are probably more confused now than they were before on what the difference is between the entities. And we just have no clear direction.
Any further discussion? Councillor Van Sickle.
Thank you. The state clearly defines the commission's responsibilities and duties as tourism promotion and tourism development. It's not completely clear to me how the organization has experienced such extensive scrutiny over months and months if this has never been discussed. I try not to miss finance meetings. I'm happy to pull the agendas where Travel Superior appears on the agenda month after month and to pull the attendance right along with it. We have to recognize the tools that are offered to cities to unlock opportunities, to create competition, and all of the potential for project and ideas that are just left out of the conversation right now, even from people that contribute to the overall fund balances are not benefiting the way a single organization does. And I think, simply put, when we look at events like having the only Pride celebration in the state not finding its light, or Juneteenth not finding light, we have to shake up the voices at the table. And it's not clear to me that we can postpone into offering a contract to the existing entity. We cannot ignore the opportunity in front of us. And whether the Chamber's board has 21 people or 50 executives and presidents, that doesn't automatically make their opinions diverse or reflective of everyday citizens. I think we can keep saying we haven't talked about it, while the hours pass as we've talked about it. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Councillor Sweeney.
I have two items. First of all, we're talking about the length of the discussion or the debate. We passed the city budget with very little debate, a lot more money than this, and it moves on. It's a relative term, the length. What is the length? We do our due diligence. It can be done shortly, it can be done. I think we've done due diligence on this. I think we have talked about it. And we're putting this out for bid. That is the equalizer. That is what we must do. We have to be, there are monies we're spending. How do we know we're getting the best opportunity? There's nothing against our current people that are providing it, but it is our responsibility to put things out for bid. We don't just continually give it to someone year after year after year. We've done that, and for the most part, it doesn't work, okay? We have to open the door and see what opportunities are out there. And it's also the responsibility of the current contractor to come. He's indicated a number of times, nobody has asked me. Well, it's also the responsibility of the person who has the contract to come to the city and to come up with new ideas and new opportunities. So that's a two-way street. So I think we've vetted this. term of length, whatever it is, if we're talking about days, weeks, months, that's a relative term. I think we have to move on and vote on this tonight. Thank you.
Thanks. Is there any further discussion? Councillor Fennessy.
My concern this whole time has revolved around the idea that promoting tourism, promoting Superior on a broad level that gets people to Superior could be gone by moving to the commission format. Because one of the selling features we heard is by moving to a commission format is we can now give out grants, we can now give out awards to specific events or businesses that bring people into Superior. Like last week, we heard from the two people from the Accordion Museum. The one thing that nobody's talking about is we already have that avenue under the current format, the Tourism Development Fund, where if the Accordion Museum, for example, wanted to put on an event, needed some help promoting their event for, to try and attract people from the outside, they can do that with a Tourism and Development Fund grant. The current format allows for grants to be given out and at the same time promoting Superior on a broad level. And I think Brian Lammy articulated this possible downward spiral best. He has extensive experience in working around tourism, marketing, event planning. He sat on the Tourism and Development Fund committee for 2 years. And here's what he said. He said, if your city's going to have an active and concerted effort to promote tourism, you must have staffing. Staff that will help with RFPs from companies looking for lodging and event space, staff to help with a couple getting married to look for a room block of ideas or a unique place to host their event, and the inquiries from travelers wondering where to find vegan dining options. This covers a multitude of functions. Tourism staff works like other organizations in the region and across the country to identify trends and marketing techniques. They are the connection to the state tourism staff to keep Superior top of mind. I cannot see how a commission would be able to accomplish these same tasks that are essential to vital tourism organization. I think he nails it. These are the things that a tourism entity does that could get lost if we move to a tourism format. And let me tell you why it could easily get lost. I've served on different committees, commissions, boards, nonprofit boards, whatever, and I'll tell you what's fun and exciting and rewarding, and that's giving out money to specific events, giving out money to specific projects, whatever. And I'll also tell you what's not fun, what's not super rewarding, is staffing levels and overhead operating costs. Although extremely important, especially in promoting, in this case, promoting Superior, you can see how even good-intentioned people can naturally be drawn to funding, promoting fun and exciting projects. And the overall, come visit us in Superior, come see us here in Superior, message can get lost. And I know the response to that is it's all about who's appointed to the committee, and the mayor selects great people, or as we learned last week that Councillor Van Sickle and the mayor selected these people. But that's a different topic. My point in all of this is I believe we have the right format in front of us. That's what we're doing today by utilizing a tourism entity. I think if we think that there's a better company out there that can do a better job, let's put it out for bid. If you have suggestions for how Travel Superior can do a better job, attend a meeting. Relay those suggestions to the mayor who sits on that board. I think if there's improvements to be made, we need to work on those first. Coming up, as we've talked, on January 1st, Travel Superior contract is up. I would love to see us leave the current structure as is by using the tourism entity today, and then tomorrow shift our focus to working closer with that organization than we have in the past with whatever tourism that entity that is, whether it's Travel Superior or some other entity, to see what areas we can do better together. If we put this out for bid, let the best company win. If we choose not to bid it out, we could look at a 1-year contract with Travel Superior. We could look at a 2, 3, whatever we want. But I don't think we need to change the whole format, the whole structure, if all some are seeking is improvement. So I move that we stay with the current entity structure and then shift our focus on ways we can possibly do this better.
Motion by Councillor Fennessy to stay with the existing entity, We've got a
Point
second.
of order, Mr. Chairman, that motion is redundant. The same effect could be accomplished by defeating the main motion. That motion should be out of order. It is a negative motion that is accomplished by just voting down the motion. It's not an amendment, it's a new main motion.
Sure, it's a totally new agenda item, so.
Should vote down the first one.
So we'll need to vote down the first one first in order to accomplish that. And it's out of order. So is there any other discussion on the current ordinance motion and second?
Mr. President?
Yes.
I don't have any arguments that I'd like to make. I wanted to weigh in on some of Councillor Kern's questions regarding process. This is fairly routine and standard. We do this with other commissions. Other communities do this as well, and I think we have plenty of time to engage in a very responsible process, and we have plenty of qualified staff and lots of experience in doing this. So I would point out this is not the fourth quarter. It's actually the third quarter, and so there's plenty of time to form the commission, get good appointments, and they can meet and begin discussing their process. They have months, 3.5 months until the end of the year when the contract expires before they consider renewals, and that's more than enough timeline under our standard bidding procedure to accomplish a full RFP and review process. We've executed a number of contracts in less time, including the existing contracts back in 2016. So that there's plenty of time, but I'd also point out, well, it would be responsible of the commission. They should get everything in place as quickly as possible and responsibly so that the organizations that are affected, including potential bidders, can have answers as quickly as possible. The commission doesn't actually receive any money until we collect it, and we distribute it quarterly. And so in the past that's been, that's not until the end of the first quarter of next year. And so we have quite a bit of time to engage this. I hope I can assuage the concerns of councilors about process. This is perfectly routine. Not only have other committees used this exact process, but we use similar processes for awarding all kinds of contracts. And again, we have the staff to help with that.
All right. Is there any other discussion, particularly from the councilors who haven't spoken? Is there any other discussion?
We have a roll call, please.
All right. So to just clarify, what a yes will mean is we're going to allow a designated tourism commission to use 70% of the room tax for tourism promotion and development beginning on January 1st, 2020. So yes means we're in favor, and no means are opposed. Oh, Councillor Fennessy.
Thank you. If I could just get just to clarify, at the last meeting, the amendment that passed was that all funds go to the council. The amendment that failed was going from the finance committee first to vet it and then the council. So if a yes vote would include that past amendment, not going to finance, just straight to council?
That's actually on the next ordinance. That's not what we're voting on right now. So we'll have discussion on the next ordinance after this is.
Okay, got it. Yep, thank you.
All right.
Councillor Elm.
Councillor Sutherland.
Thank you. Are we voting on right now with the commission as well that was picked out in the last meeting, or is that not on this, what we're voting on right now?
We are voting, the first ordinance we're voting on is to allow a designated tourism commission to use 70% of the room tax. So yes, we would be voting for the commission.
But the last meeting we had, the commissioners' names were stated in there. I don't have the agenda right in front of me. I'm sorry.
Are you asking the same question as Councillor Fennessy? I'm sorry.
Are we voting on the commissioners that were chosen on the last meeting as well right now?
No, that would be at the next council meeting.
Oh.
The specific assigned folks the mayor presented would be at the next council meeting.
All right, thank you.
All right, we're at a roll call, so yes is to allow this and no is to keep it as it is.
Councillor Grasky? Councillor Ledeen?
Yes.
Councillor Van Sickle?
Yes.
Councillor Bender?
Yes.
Councillor Sweeney?
Yes.
Councillor Fennessy?
No.
Councillor Elm?
Yes.
Counselor Ludwig? Yes. Counselor Sutherland?
No.
Counselor Kern?
No.
Counselor, oh, sorry.
That's everyone.
Yes, I got that.
We have a 6-4 vote passes, so. Did our projector go off again?
All right, did they both go off? Yeah. They did, okay. That'll be fine. The bulbs overheat. We're working on it. Okay. So we'll read the
Next
second one.
ordinance.
Sure. Ordinance, the second one to be considered is amending section 7468 to create the Superior Tourism Development Commission.
I got a motion by Counselor Bender. Second by Counselor Groske. Discussion. Mayor Payne.
Mr. President, I'd like to propose an amendment, and this, I have written copies. I provided one to the clerk and to yourself, Mr. President, and if any counselors would like one, I can just pass this along.
Yeah, let's make sure everyone has that.
The purpose of this amendment will be to incorporate the concerns that many of the counselors expressed at the last council meeting. Here, you can just take this pile and pass it on. Thanks, Rick. A number of the counselors expressed concerns that went in a few different directions. Some wanted more oversight for the commission from the council. That was the nature of President Elm's amendment to subject all the decisions to the approval of the city council. Other counselors found certain levels in proposed amendments after that to be too much oversight, particularly responding to every single possible decision. So I have to recognize that the statute does seem to envision a certain amount of independence for the commission. It should have the authority to take some action. That's what the statute creates. However, I did find a number of cities that do have some oversight. So taking from them, the amendment that I'm suggesting is first to strike Councilor Elm's amendment from last week, which adds the words subject to the approval of the city council. You'll see a line through that in section A. And then to create a new section C that reads, powers and duties. The Tourism Development Commission shall have the powers and duties prescribed by Wisconsin Statute 66.0615. The commission shall be subject to the provisions of the Superior City Code, Article 9, bid procedure for certain city services. Expenditures in excess of $25,000 shall be by contract or written agreements, which will require the approval of the Common Council. And then adjust the other paragraphs accordingly. What this does, counselors, in a nutshell, is that it defines, of course, that the commission has the powers outlined by the state statute, which I think you've all read by now. Then it subjects them to the city bid process. This is the same procedure that we use for any contract throughout the city. It's a detailed process referenced in Title IX. The gist of it is contracts above a certain size are put out for bid, namely $25,000. And those contracts, this further describes, or agreements are put out, are submitted to the city council for approval. This amendment also adds the caveat that expenditures in excess of $25,000 shall be by contract or written agreements to avoid giving out just excessively large grants without creating an agreement. And again, that's a relatively standard process within the city as well. We often give out direct allotments of cash by agreement, whereas it doesn't rise to a contract, but we have something written down that states the terms. And then finally, that those things would be approved by council. I think the language is fairly straightforward, but I'm happy to answer questions. Otherwise, I would recommend the adoption of this amendment.
Councilor Sani.
Could you please speak to a subsection in the $25,000 that I believe at least prohibits whoever signing a agreement for 29,999. Next 6 months come along at 29,990, or whatever the number is, slightly under 25. Is that covered in our?
Yes, that's
a question for Mayor Payne.
Thank you. Yes, Councilor, that's covered by the bid procedure. It's specifically, and I'm sorry I don't have that pulled up. I can, but the bid procedure says that it's not just contracts above $25,000. It's any like service that is likely, the combined costs are likely to go over $25,000. So if you engage in $5,000, $10,000 grants, this requires you to get a contract for that $50,000.
Any other questions? Councillor Fennessy.
So basically, last week we talked about two different options. It would first go to finance, then go to council. That motion was voted down. What was approved is to go for all expenditures to go straight to council. And now, if I understand this right now, the only thing that goes to council is anything that's over 25,000. Am I understanding that right?
Yes.
Question for Mayor Payne.
Expenditures over 25,000. Expenditures under 25,000 are the purview of the commission alone, according to this amendment. Yes.
And what was your reasoning behind, like, what's the benefit of having the council have less oversight on the commission that you appoint?
Mayor Payne.
Well, we have a number of bodies that act independently, including department heads. Where there's a budget and allocated funds, department heads frequently spend that money under 25,000. So that happens. That's also, we referenced the festival committee last time, and some other committees, I think, too, just give out grants directly. And when they're a small amount, I think we've had at this point, debated and kind of a long precedent that we can let both department heads and certain independent commissions spend amounts below a certain amount to keep every $500 grant from having to go through a multiple committee process. I just also want to clarify, while this says common council, that doesn't preclude the finance committee. If the council feels something needs to go through one of its standing committees, it can do that. In fact, I would argue a contract in excess of 25,000 should and would get reviewed by the finance committee before going to council. But that, of course, is the council's decision.
Okay, so because for a commission that's going to meet 4 times a year, we don't want to bog the council down with their recommendations from meeting 4 times a year. So that's why we're going to put this threshold of 25,000 on there. Okay.
Do we have a roll call vote?
We would need a motion and a second to this amendment, and I don't think I've heard it.
I'll make a motion.
For the amendment as it is presented in front of you.
Yes.
Can we have a motion by Councillor Bender? Do we have a second? Second. Second by Councillor Ledeen. Okay, and any other further discussion on this amendment? Councillor Sweeney.
Just a comment rather than what we're creating here. We don't walk away from this if we vote for this tonight. This is a living document. We have some oversight to do in the city council, and I'm sure some things will change through the year. If things work the way we hope they do, that's fine. But this is, somebody's going to have some eyes and ears on this, especially like anything else. And so to do our due diligence, the city council will do it, so things may change. If we find things have to change, they will change. But for right now, this is what we're working on, 25 and anything under. If it doesn't work, then we'll have to change it. And so it's up to us, the city council and the mayor and his team, to have due diligence and watch this, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure we'll be watching it in finance. Thank you.
Councillor Grosky?
I just want to point out that even with this $25,000 amount, even just looking at past how money was spent quarterly when it was an entity, I mean, these numbers will probably most likely go through the council in support of that, just to prove that we have more or less not 6 people looking at this, but an entire council when it comes to that. So,
thanks. Mayor Payne, your lights on. Councillor Van Sickle? Or Councillor Bender?
You smell propane?
Yes.
Yes. Why are we smelling that?
I don't know. We should stop. Recess. Can we
Let
look
me-
into it?
Consider a motion to recess for 10 minutes.
to check it out.
Yeah.
Somebody.
Yeah,
So-
can we make a motion, please?
Sure, I'll make that motion.
Motion for second by Counselor Bender. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're in recess, 10 minutes.
Like somebody. 5-minute recess, you say? That's weird.
8:19, just get your guys' attention. Our 10-minute recess is complete. We are in the discussion phase of the amendment that is provided in front of us here. Is there any more discussion on the amendment? Councillor Van Sickle.
Thank you, President Elm.
Your microphone's off. Okay, there we go.
Thanks. I just want to clarify that I am very used to taking shots in this chambers. I am. And maybe one day I can volunteer more, show up more, be on more committees. I can work harder. Maybe
Point of order.
nope.
What's the relevance?
I'm getting to the
agenda?
relevance. I'm getting to the relevance.
Councilor
Thank
Van
you.
Sickle.
Thank you. And maybe I can exercise more discipline one day. But it's when there's an accusation or some cheap shot around the commissioners being some conspiracy, I would just remind the counselor that it's very important to read the packet before we attend these meetings because, and maybe I should have chose my words more carefully, which is something I take a very concerted effort to do, is when I said we have put together a very competent commission, I meant that the commissioners that were printed in the packet, publicly noticed, 4 out of 6 were already confirmed commissioners who make up the TDF, 2 counselors by their own selection, 4 out of 6. That is what I meant by we, nothing more and nothing less. Thank you.
Any other discussion on the amendment, please? Okay, we're going to do a roll call on the amendment, and of course, after this, we then vote on the actual ordinance. All right? Councillor Van Sickle, your mic's still on.
Councillor Ledeen. Yes. Councillor Van Sickle.
Yes.
Councillor Bender.
Yes.
Councillor Sweeney.
Yes.
Councillor Fennessy.
No.
Councillor Elm.
Yes.
Councillor Ludwig. Yes. Councillor Sutherland.
No.
Councillor Kern.
No.
And Councillor Grasky.
That's a 7-3 motion for the amendment passes. We're back on to the main motion in its amended form. Is there any discussion on this, or I assume we would like to go to roll call on this as well?
Please.
Okay, any other discussion?
We need a motion
Um,
to approve.
The original motion was Councillor Bender, I believe?
Do you remember? Okay.
Yes. And then Grasky is the second,
Thank
yep.
you.
I thought that was the amendment, but. Okay.
Can you read the motion so we know we're voting and what the yes and no means?
Yes, we are voting on the amendment that we just made for amending Section 7468 to create the Superior Tourism Development Commission. Yes means we're creating the commission in the amended form that was presented, and a no means we are not. All right.
Okay. Counselor Van Sickle. Yes. Counselor Bender.
Yes.
Counselor Sweeney.
Yes.
Counselor Fennessy.
No.
Counselor Elm.
Yes.
Counselor Ludwig. Yes. Counselor Sutherland.
Nope.
Counselor Kern.
Nope.
Counselor Gasky.
That's 7-3. It passes as amended.
Dean, yeah.
Oh.
Counselor Ledeen. Yes. Thank you. 7-3.
I apologize. Different start. I was still correct. All right.
You were.
And the meeting is adjourned. That concludes everything. Thank you, everyone.